All right. Okay, here we go. Here we go. All right, we are at another round with an update. You are watching Watch. This is Arc Republic's first election watch. What we did was we gathered three of our brilliant contributors to give their perspective about what's going on with the elections and to give our viewers a really, to me, nuanced and complex understanding about what's going on and break it down so we can forever be Baroque. So we have Brother Mikhail Furnace. Tell me, what is the update? What's going on?
Well, it's tight.
Uh-oh.
What we know right now is, well, there's been one Senate pickup in Colorado, Hickenlooper. So
Okay.
that's something that's a positive if you're a Democrat.
Okay. Okay.
Ohio, it's like uh, 50. So it's showing right now Trump is up like by 2% in Ohio.
Oh, that's
Uh,
tight.
so, right. So like Ohio, Wisconsin are like less than a 5% difference right now. But
Oh,
a lot of
wow.
those, they haven't counted the early voting.
The early bird. Yeah.
So
The
right
voting
now,
down.
those are just the people who voted in person. So what a lot of what they're saying in these places where, Pennsylvania and Ohio, uh, that when they tally up the early votes, that may serve to boost Biden because they feel like a lot of Biden supporters voted early.
Right.
Wisconsin, which has been a central hotbed
Right. It's a
in this
swing state. Yep. It's a
flashpoint. They
battleground.
showed
Right.
earlier he was up like 37%, 37%.
Do you
You
think this is
know,
a result of what went on with the George Floyd protest and then things like that?
I
Right.
think you even have to go back to Sterling Brown.
Oh, I
You go
forgot
back to
about that.
Sterling
Yeah.
Brown, the NBA player. I think you even go back to Scott Walker. I
Mhm.
think Wisconsin has been, and maybe people got tired of Brett Favre popping off at the mouth this week. So a lot of these athletes have come out in support of Trump too. So it could be a recall on everything right now.
Interesting.
Um, but Wisconsin, like you say, it could be, what happened in Kenosha. They had another shooting recently, so
Okay.
it's a lot going on in Wisconsin. So we'll see. But he has a very big lead there.
Mhm, mhm.
Um, we don't know much about California right now. It's still a lot. It's still early. It's only 7 o'clock here, so there isn't a whole lot that is being reported here. They also mentioned North Carolina was kind of close.
Really?
Florida was
Okay.
close. Yeah, so it was like maybe a 6 point lead. So it's
Mhm.
interesting when you show
Really,
when you
what,
look.
for North Carolina or Florida?
Trump was up in Florida,
Right.
and they were saying that how Miami, Dade County, is really underperforming for Biden, and a lot of that they're citing. A lot of the Latino population, but understanding the Latino population is different on the East Coast as opposed to what it is on the West Coast.
Which we were
Whereas you
talking.
have
Remember, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, right?
right, and so when the concept or the propaganda that the Democrats are socialist is something that they bought into. Because I guess when you're fleeing a country, in Latin America where those socialist and populist agendas play out, and at the end of the day, it's still capitalism. The people are starving, the people are suffering. But what's the irony in all this is they end up turning, you support Trump, which turns out to be the type of strongman or figure that Latin America is used to, whether it's a Pinochet. He may not be as violent or extreme as that, but it's the cult of personality that he also wages that they seem to be attracted to, which is a problem in Latin America. But yet they eschew the things such as socialism, which actually exist for the party they support. So I don't think they
Right.
really have a clear understanding of how our political system works. They just identify with the propaganda that is being pushed out by the Trump campaign, and they've been effective with that.
Yeah, I think it even goes much deeper than that. I think that
Yeah.
class and I think that race and maybe
Mm-hmm.
perhaps colorism has
Yeah.
something to play in it because
Yeah.
these Cubans, from what I understand, that are voting for for Trump,
Mm-hmm.
ascribe to a ideology that is it repulses socialism not because of necessarily people are starving, but because there is a very strong capitalistic sentiment about them.
Yeah, yeah,
You see what I'm
I would
saying?
agree. I would
Right.
agree, and I think so. When we look at, that's a nuanced discussion too, because you have to look at the people who. Well, so let's even go back. The Cuban Party the Cubans in Miami have been tied to the Republican Party since Castro came into power. So
Yes.
the Republican Party has since 1960s been promising to get rid of Castro, and they failed. Castro walked out and handed off to his brother. So they
Right.
failed in that. So the question still
With all
remains
his
that
Orisha pots. Okay, go
with
ahead.
everything. So so even now you have people like Rubio and Cubans who were disaffected, but the people who were disaffected were often the that capitalist class that you speak of,
Right.
right?
Right.
That did not want to participate in the revolution, that may have saw some of those sacrifices they had to make for social and economic compensation to the nation. That was too
Exactly.
much for them. So it's like
Exactly.
the corporate structure in America. We don't want to pay taxes here. It's the same way the Cubans did there. So this strain away from socialism in terms of how it innately tried to help the nation keep its resources authentic, whereas they were more content. Okay, let's parcel this out and sell out our land for our own specific gain. And the same thing is happening with the votes here. That at the
Help.
end of the day, their country is going to be undermined by what was happening here, and they're not going to gain directly from this guy being in office.
So help me understand something. From what I know, Cubans are in a high concentration in Miami, a high
Mm-hmm.
concentration in New York.
Mm-hmm.
Where else is there a strong Cuban population?
Well, let's not solely put this on Cubans, because you have Venezuelans, you have Colombians, and those are also big socialist blocs. When you look at the Bolivarian movement that was a Chavez that was in Venezuela. Colombia has always been an ally of the United States in the narco traffic and different trade issues. So I think when you look at that place,
Plus,
even Evo Morales in Bolivia, there's these strong blocks in South America that people move to Florida. So you got to realize how close Florida is to South America, really. And so it's not just the Cubans, but it's the Colombians, it's the Venezuelans, it's even some Argentinians. It's those people that are fleeing uh, maybe socialist or what's considered more socialist run countries like I said, Venezuela. But Venezuela's in a bit of a transition now. The same way with Bolivia. They just recently had elections that were able to maybe give power back to the people. So there's this change now. So you're going to have more people fleeing those areas and going back to Florida to lobby for their interests. So it's not just the Cubans. You got to look at the Cuban interests. You got to look at the Venezuelans. You got to look at the Colombians.
you
Like you
just
mentioned, the East
okay.
Coast, maybe even
Okay, break.
North Carolina as well.